we have a new episode of the WION Sports Broadband Edition with me, Digvijay Singhdeo. My guest today is a Grand Slam winner in tennis. He's an Olympic semi-finalist, an Arjuna awardee, and he's also the reigning Asian Games gold medalist in tennis men's doubles. Rohan Bopanna, thank you so much for joining me. And I must say that I am pretty if I could say, upset that here I am locked down in my flat in Delhi and you are in your ancestral place of Coorg. It's fate, perhaps, Ron.
Thank you so much, Diggy, for having me. It's always a pleasure, talking to you. I am in Coorg in my grandparents' place, and definitely, I must say, lucky to be in this part of the country. We have a coffee plantation here, so at least in the morning I can go for a run, can walk around the estate. Currently, the coffee blossoms are in full swing, so it's a beautiful sight. And I don't get to be at this time of the year in Coorg, and in a way, right now with all of us in this lockdown, it's really nice to be and spend time with the family.
Yes, this part, let me just remind everyone at this time of the year, Rohan Bopanna is usually trying his luck on clay. So Monte Carlo, Barcelona, and what? Madrid, Rome, leading up to the French Open, which obviously you have won as well. But don't rub it into us here, Rohan. We are struggling. So enjoy this moment. New coffee blends coming up, perhaps. Are you, with the tennis season shut down for the moment, are you looking at new coffee blends?
I have been exploring new types of coffee. There's, one of my colleagues in the Maverick and Pharma company was doing this cold brew series. So, I thought, why not try it out? It's very, very simple, form of making this cold brew coffee. And my mom actually does a lot of kind of liqueurs and everything. So she had these apricots brandied in 3 months ago. So I, into the cold brew, I, put a few slices of these apricots in there, and gives it a real good mouthfeel. And it's good. It's nice. I try to, do something different. It's definitely a good time to explore a lot of stuff. My sister was here, so she was teaching me some cooking skills. So it's been fun.
Yes, I'm going to share my address with you offline, Rohan. Some of that other stuff which you mentioned, which I can't say now. Send it over. We need some kind of relaxation once this lockdown is over. But just to give our viewers and our readers on WIONnews.com as well a sense of perspective. Now, when the world started to lock down, you really had to face a harrowing time as well. You were on Davis Cup duty. You had gone with the Indian team to play in Croatia, and you were on your way back. And you were held up in Doha or somewhere in the Middle East for 17 or 18 hours. What's happened now, I think, Rohan, and you'll be able to expand on this much more, is that we sort of have hit a reset button. And this coronavirus, this pandemic, does not differentiate between elite sports persons like you and unfit journalists like me.
No, I think, first of all, you're one of the fit guys out there. So I don't think you should call yourself that. But having said that, I look at it in a positive way. I mean, even though, yes, I was in Croatia and then I was going to Los Angeles via Doha, just an hour and a half before our boarding time, my physio Gaurang and myself, we were in Doha, and we got the email saying that the Indian Wells tournament was cancelled. So immediately went to the, counter to try and change our flights. And we were there on 8th evening in Doha. We landed around 11:30 p.m. and a flight to Los Angeles was only 8 a.m. Even though we had a transit hotel, which was outside the airport, but that particular evening at 5 o'clock, the immigration authorities said that a few countries were not allowed to leave the airport. And one of the countries was India. So unfortunately, we had to just stay in the airport. And then, like I said, around 7 o'clock, 1 hour before our boarding time, we got to know the Indian Wells tournament was cancelled. And we decided, obviously, to change our flights to India. And the flight to India was only at 8 p.m. So, but So then we just decided to obviously stay in the airport. We didn't have any other choice. Luckily, in the airport, you can actually go and use the gym or use the swimming pool there. They have the facilities there. So we went in there and managed to do that and do kind of workout, because we thought we'll just keep ourselves, busy doing something, because we're already there for so many hours. But I'm glad that I wasn't on the 16-hour flight to Los Angeles, and rather than be there waiting in Doha and then fly back home. That in a way it worked out well for me, to be honest.
Yes, not everyone has had that kind of success in getting back home. There's been a lot of problems, but I think everyone around the world has been affected, and that I don't think there can be one person in this world who says that we've not been affected by this coronavirus. I was in fact, Rohan, speaking to Mahesh Bhupati, your former teammate, your former Davis Cup captain as well, uh, last week, and he was saying that the problem for tennis players around the world is not that some of them have got gyms, some of them can keep fit, but there's something called match fitness. Is that a significant worry now for you? Do you have a tennis court in Coorg? You mentioned how you were going for a run and all that stuff, but there's something else which is required to play sport at the highest level, and that is sort of not available to most players at the moment.
No, I think Mahesh is absolutely right there. I mean, he's mentioned very, very good points. The other thing I would say, yes, match fitness is something we all want to look forward to, but not knowing when the tour is actually going to start, it's tough to really prepare at the moment as an athlete. You can practice as much as you want. Yes, there is a tennis court really next to my house, but it's in a club. But right now it's shut down, so I cannot use that either. My niece and nephew are here in Cook, so I'm in our front yard just practicing with them a little bit every evening for an hour. Giving them some tennis lessons. They play at my academy in Bangalore. So I think once we get to know what how the situation is, and right now I think health is the most important and biggest priority. So I think we're all focused on making sure that is the number one priority. And I think further on going, and hopefully this virus moves away and everything gets better, the situation gets better. I think then we will have time to really prepare, for these matches. So I don't think that is really something to really worry about at the moment.
No, but for a player like you, Rohan, because see, you won the French Open, you've had success on clay, you've won those Master Series leading up to the French as well. Grass has always been your favorite subject surface as well. For someone like you, how do you react to the fact that your entire clay season's gone, your grass season is gone? As you said, you don't know when the tour will come back. At least now we have a sort of an indication in golf, when last night they've declared that all the majors will be probably held post second half of the year. But even now from tennis, we still don't know, because as we all know, it's not just about you being fit. There has to be travel restrictions. The countries where these tournaments are going to be held, they need to ease their travel restrictions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is, yeah, definitely hard when you miss all these tournaments. I mean, over the years you've been playing, there are certain tournaments, your favorite tournaments you would have loved to have played. I mean, I have always enjoyed playing on the grass courts. I mean, to hear when Wimbledon was canceling, I mean, definitely devastating. I mean, to hear something like that. But I think we can only control the things which are in our hand. So we can't really control anything else. So we just have to understand the situation, which is right now what actually is the priority, and we have to go by that. And hopefully everything gets well soon, everything gets better, and then not only tennis but for everybody, I think we start slowly getting back, because each and every single person out there has been affected by this COVID-19.
Absolutely. But has this break, coming as it has in the sudden way that it's happened, has this break sort of given you a fresh perspective, given you time to think? It helps that you're in Coorg, nice, much more cleaner air. Has it given you time to think on, what more you want to achieve in your career, new goals, sort of pause and think of a career gone by?
Diggy, the thought there is that when you are mentally prepared to say you're going to retire, everything is differently better. Overnight, when you don't have a job, it's a lot different. It's a lot different to really think on what can be done. Yes, there is a perspective of I am at home, idle mind is the devil's workshop, as they say. It is, you're constantly thinking. But the good part is, my wife and I, we were blessed 10 months ago with a beautiful daughter. So we're really happy spending time with her. In a way, for me, I get full quality time spending, time at home, being at home, really seeing her grow. So in a way, I'm taking that as a positive. But having said, going back on your question, I think the fact of when you retire and right now, situations are completely too different. Mentally, the way you prepare and where this suddenly happened is a lot more difficult at the moment, I feel. And we all have to stay united, stay positive, and that's the only way we can push each other.
Okay, important you say that. A lot of sports person, I was speaking to Mary Com also, and she was saying that, getting to spend time with family is something it's never happened. Be it Apurvi Chandela, Anju Mudgir, all of them who were like preparing for the Olympics. Everyone is saying, even Shrikant, Kidambi Shrikant in badminton, saying that I've probably never spent so much time in Guntur in the last 15 years than I have at this point of time. But the other big story which happened in the last 2 weeks, Rohan, was the Olympics getting postponed. Now, it's a rare occasion. It's happened for the first time since the Second World War. I was with you at Rio, and you and Sania Mirza reached the medal round, reached the semis. You all played the bronze medal match. Didn't go your way that day, but that achievement still, is something which you are extremely proud of. Could work out in your situation this break, because Sania just came back to the tour at the beginning of the year. Mixed doubles is there at the Olympics. Have you thought of that? That Sania now has more time to get her sort of full game going, and then once again you can target another hard crack at that Olympic medal.
Yeah, 100%. We do have a lot more time, but a lot more time is only great if we were playing. Right now, we are not playing, so it's not that, like you said, yes, Sania has made a comeback, but it's not that she's getting to play any tournaments. It's not like I'm playing tournaments. So it's when the tour starts, it is still, I think it's still pretty much going to be pretty similar. It's not like, right now, I think we're going to lose a few more months before we get even close, of starting the tour back. So, yes, the time would have helped, I feel, if we were competing right now. But then at this situation, I don't think that really makes any difference.
Okay. But just talking about the Olympics, you were there at London, you were there at Rio, two Olympics. Tokyo, when you get there, will be your third Olympics. Been a pretty eventful journey heading into the Olympics in Indian tennis. Never a dull moment. I would know it all too well, considering the time I've spent around the Indian tennis team. But for you, Rohan, what do the Olympics mean to a sports person? You are tennis professionals. You play day in, day out on a uh, different city, different country through the year. But the Olympics for a traveling professional, what does that mean?
I think it was the right decision, at this juncture for the Tokyo Olympics to be postponed. I think, yes, it was very tough on a lot of athletes. There were a lot of athletes who had qualified already. And, tennis, yes, we have constantly, big events coming up. There are a lot of athletes I know who just have these once in 2 years or once a year big competitions, and then they prepare for this. So it was not easy for, I think, everybody. But uh, being there, representing your country, I think, I play day in, day out on the tour, but tennis is so much bigger than all of us. So when we represent the country, I think that is the pinnacle of our sport and the pinnacle of a sportsman also at the end of the day. You want to be there representing, your country, being proud that you're there, irrelevant of the result, but you still made that effort, like Olympic come once in 4 years. You have put in all that effort to make that effort to get to that level, and it is a proud feeling for for me especially. I think like you said, it will be my third Olympics if I play in Tokyo, and still it's such a great feeling every single time you go there, and it can't get bigger than that than representing your country, and especially at Olympics.
Okay. You just spoke about being on the tour, playing day in day out, but there is a significant portion of the tour now which is struggling because of this virus. Because Rohan, okay, there's the elite athlete, and if you don't mind, I can put you in that bracket. That there's the elite athlete who's won the Grand Slams, who's won the big tournaments, who has sort of saved money over the years, if I could use that word. But there are others who play small tournaments like the challengers, these circuits where four tournaments you play. It depends on what you win there. $3,000-4,000. They Mahesh Bhupati also told me that those players are struggling. Is there anything inside from the ATP kind of relief package or something for those kind of players? Because it's not just them; it's the physios, the coaches, everyone. The ecosystem in tennis right now is struggling.
No, I think it is very, very tough. I mean, for each and every tennis player out there, or athlete, or anybody out there. I mean, suddenly, like I said, overnight you lose a job. You don't know what's happening. Sometimes, yes, some players have prepared, have adjusted better, but so far there has, I think ATP is still in talks with that. They have nothing in concrete, to be honest. And as players, we haven't heard anything from that as yet. But I'm sure for them also, it's such a situation that it's not easy. It's not only the fact that how to deal with finances, and also there's a lot of ranking involved and how to deal with that. It's a situation, everything is new for everybody. So I'm sure ATP will come up with the right solution, and it'll definitely take some time, but I'm sure they're looking at to try and help as much as they can.
Yeah, because the Lawn Tennis Association in England came up with a financial package as well. Uh, there is the Indian player. The lot of the Indian players play a lot of these challenger circuits. Not everyone gets to play on the main tour. What about them? How are they coping with this? I've already read a couple of stories of some of them having to dip into their savings. It is difficult for them as well.
Absolutely, it is very, very difficult, and right now the situation, I think, is just about keeping a simple routine, making sure you do everything every day. You can't really think ahead too much. The more you sit and think, the more it worked up, and you start worrying about it more. So I feel, like I said, you can only control the things you have. You can't do much, and you have to take it day by day. And absolutely difficult times for each and every one out there. And really hope everything gets sorted out really quickly.
There's there's another uh, there's another possibility, Rohan, which I don't think the tours have started to address just yet. Wimbledon mentioned it when they say that we do not want to hold events behind closed doors. Uh, but when you look at the larger scheme of things, that money, players struggling, anyone below top 50 actually struggling to put food on the table. Where do you stand on this playing behind closed doors? At least some money will happen because there's some the tournament goes ahead, broadcast rights come in. Yes, the players will miss the atmosphere. It's more like a training session, when you have just training and nobody around you. That's one option. Where do you stand on that? Should the tour look at playing behind closed doors, or is even that is currently not a question because of the safety concerns?
I definitely think it should not be done, because with the current situation, and tennis is not like it's all tournaments are held in one country or one city. So that is where also a lot more comes into play, because players are traveling from various countries. Even if that has to happen, there's a lot more. Each and every country has different rules and everything which are in place at the moment. So that makes it much harder for players, not only even if you have tournaments, to travel and to get there. And then certain countries, if you get into that country, they want you quarantined for 14 or 21 days. So everything at the scenario is, there's a lot of uncertainty. So I don't think it would be the right thing to do at the moment, because no matter whatever you do, health is the topmost priority, and that is something we all have to make sure it happens, and
Yes,
we all have to take care about that. Yeah.
yes, and leads me to my next question, because you were part of a video conferencing call with the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. He spoke about sports persons actually spreading the message of social distancing and to stay safe, as you mentioned. How important do you think, Rohan, is the role of the sports person in today's time. In fact, you have an academy. You were one of the first to close it down when you realized that the situation is getting out of hand. But how important is the role of the sports person? You may not be out there, you may not be interacting with your fan, you may not be playing out there, but you have a direct reach to so many people because of your exploits on the sporting pitch.
No, I think first of all, it was really inspiring for me, and I think all the sportsmen who were there talking to the Prime Minister. It's the first time something like this has happened, and for him to actually take faith and really make sure that all the sportsmen have a voice and be a sportsman. I think we have inspired a lot of people, around the country. So coming in together, spreading awareness, it definitely encourages whoever we can. And even if you do 1-2% of the people you're encouraging, it's still a good start, and you're constantly doing that. And I think it was a great initiative, not only from the Prime Minister, the sports minister, everyone coming together. And to be in a platform with 50 sportsmen there was really special, and I really am happy that I was part of that.
Yes, because once the great Nelson Mandela once said, "Sport has the power to change the world." I really
Yeah,
hope that
100%.
this is exactly the way it's going to pan out, and in the times ahead when the difficulties will perhaps keep getting a bit more, it is people like you who will come out and inspire people across the world, even in our country, especially, that it's more important to stay safe at this moment, and and prepare for the future, because it won't be doom and gloom all the time. Rohan Bopanna, thank you so much for taking out time. As you said, a great moment for you to be with your family in your ancestral village. But what really struck me most was the fact that you get to spend so much time with the little one, not having to travel, not having to change hotels every 4 or 5 days. I think that's something which you will remember much more in the days ahead. Thank you so much for joining us, and importantly, stay safe.
Thank you so much, Diggy. Thank you for reaching out. I know you've been talking to a lot of sportsmen, so thank you so much for talking to us. It's really nice to always be on your show, chatting with you. And yes, definitely stay safe, and hope to see you soon. Take care.
Yes, hope to see each other in person when the situation gets better. Thank you, Rohan. Enjoy yourself. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Diggy. Bye.